Des Moines, the most advanced heavy cruiser of the U.S. Navy, which was simultaneously the last heavy cruiser in service in the world. Solomon Islands. The experience of the Solomon Islands campaign demonstrates to the United States Navy that the fleet needed a new type of ship. The fast-firing 6-inch guns, or 152mm, of light cruisers lacked destructive power in fast-paced night encounters, and the powerful 8-inch, or 203mm, guns of heavy cruisers lacked the rate of fire. In addition to the 5-inch or 152mm gun with automatic loading mechanisms that was under development, it was decided to make a similar 8-inch artillery system that used the same design solutions. Heavy cruiser without restrictions. Baltimore was the last U.S. Navy heavy cruiser that was designed before the country entered World War II. With the outbreak of war in Europe in 1939, international restrictions on naval armaments ceased to operate. Limits on the caliber of guns and displacement of ships lost their force. The new heavy cruiser project was based on Cruiser Wichita, which entered service in February 1939. Compared to her prototype, Baltimore grew in size, became more seaworthy, and received more powerful anti-aircraft defenses. Washington Main Battery. Starting with the Pensacola-class ships, all American heavy cruisers were armed with 8-inch guns, the maximum caliber allowed for cruisers under the Washington and London naval treaties. The designs of guns and mounts improved from one ship series to another. A major step forward was the development of turrets with separate vertical aiming for guns. These turrets were first mounted on Cruiser Wichita. All Baltimore-class ships also received these main battery mounts. New architecture. The design of the Baltimore-class heavy cruisers and the Cleveland-class light cruisers, which were built in parallel, was very similar and, in fact, was a further development of the ideas of the first half of the 1930s that were embodied in the Brooklyn class. Combat experience gained at the beginning of the Pacific War revealed the shortcomings of this design. 1942 saw the revised projects for heavy and light cruisers, the Oregon City class and the Fargo class respectively. Both classes had new architecture with a single funnel and improved sectors for fire for anti-aircraft artillery. Rapid firing main battery. The U.S. Navy Bureau of Ordnance, BORD, came up with an idea of developing a rapid-firing 8-inch turret in May 1943. The new mount was supposed to have a more advanced design of the gun breech and be able to be loaded at any barrel elevation angles. These engineering solutions, together with a high degree of loading and shell feeding process mechanization, provided an unprecedented rate of fire for an artillery system of this caliber. Twin turret. The new rapid-firing mount was designed both as a triple variant, which was already familiar to American heavy cruisers, and as a twin turret variant. The latter, despite the smaller number of barrels, nevertheless surpassed the old triple turrets in terms of the mass of shells fired per minute. According to calculations, the new twin turret had almost the same dimensions and, at the same time, less weight. It could therefore be mounted on cruisers already under construction without the need to make any major alterations or change the project. Final variant. The impressive firepower of the rapid-firing triple turret and optimistic calculations for the weight and dimensions of such a mount won the field. The U.S. Navy Bureau of Ordnance chose the triple turret variant. However, the reality turned out to be harsh, and the weight of the mount exceeded 450 tons, one-third more than what had been calculated. Mounting them on other cruiser projects that were under construction was out of the question. Rebuilding the ship hulls would have been too costly. The new turrets would only be mounted on ships that were specially designed to accommodate them. Main battery detector. A new range finder station was also needed for the new guns. This role was filled by the Mark 54 Director. The new Mark 13 artillery radar, capable of detecting a surface target at distance of over 70 kilometers or 43.5 miles, was closely related to its design. The radar antenna was placed directly on the roof of the rangefinder station. Together, these two devices provided guns with unrivaled accuracy. During exercises, a Des Moines-class cruiser was able to hit a target located over the horizon with 17 shells out of 18 shells fired. God damn, that's good. Fucking Christ, that's amazing. Jesus. Cruiser draft design. The draft design of a new heavy cruiser with rapid-firing guns was ready by the end of 1943. Auxiliary armament that was intended to be used for the project was in fact standard for large U.S. Navy artillery ships being built at the time. 127mm or 5-inch Mark 12 dual-purpose guns in twin mounts, 40mm Bofors guns in quadruple mounts, and 20mm Oerlikon gun mounts. At the same time, the cruiser already had the new class armament, compact with superstructures grouped around a single funnel. Weapons against kamikaze. In 1944, the American fleet operating in the Pacific encountered kamikaze pilots. It was no longer enough just to hit a target that had broken into the action zone of close-range anti-aircraft artillery. The target had to be destroyed completely before it had a chance to strike a ship. Small caliber guns, even the 40mm Bofors guns, could not guarantee this. As a matter of urgency, a new anti-aircraft system, the Mark 33, was built on the basis of the old 76mm, or 3-inch, gun. The system replaced all 40mm mounts in the heavy, rapid-firing cruiser project. Quincy, the city of shipbuilders. 4 cruisers of the new class were laid down in 1945. All but one were laid down in Quincy, Massachusetts, a city that had built half a dozen battleships and more than 20 U.S. Navy cruisers in its shipyards by that time. The lead ship of the series, USS Des Moines, was laid down in September 1946, followed by USS Salem in March 1947. These were not the first ships with such names for the U.S. Navy. Cruisers Des Moines and Salem, also built in Quincy, had already served in the fleet in the 1900s. The last heavy cruisers. The last ship in the series was USS Newport News, which was launched in March 1948 at the shipyard of the same name in Virginia. All 3 ships, Des Moines, Salem, and Newport News, were the last heavy cruisers in the world to enter service. They can rightfully be called the most advanced ships of their type, primarily due to their phenomenal firepower.
Construction stations.
Enemy force sighted on the horizon.
指定の味方艦艇の援護を急いで。
Enemy cruiser sighted.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
Enemy battleship sighted. Enemy cruiser detected. Enemy cruiser sighted.
The ship is on fire!
火力支援を要請します。
Problem solved, sir! The ship is on fire!
A tutte le unità, segnalo la posizione di un bersaglio strategico.
Enemy battleship sighted. Enemy cruiser sighted. Enemy destroyer detected.
Our team has taken the lead.
dead ahead.